Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to give you an introduction more to the content of this course. This is the study of Western civilization part 1. And so first I'm going to talk about what is Western civilization. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think it's important that we study this topic, why I think it's really great that you're taking this class, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about how in this class specifically we're going to explore this topic. So what is Western civilization? Of course, this is a highly debated term and a highly debated definition. Now, we could go into some detail looking at the different ways in which this term has been debated. For the purposes of this course, I'm going to define Western civilization in this way. Western civilization is the combination of Greek and Roman models of government and society combined with the religion of Christianity. And so we're going to look at how these components emerged, how they were fused together, and how this combination formed a civilization and how that developed. Why do I think it's important that we're studying this topic? In some ways, you could say it's quite a restrictive topic. We've only picked one civilization from the many that we can find in the history of the world. The reason that I think it's important that we study Western civilization, there are two main reasons. The first is that the legacy of Western civilization is the most influential in the history of the world and in shaping the modern world today. That doesn't mean that that's necessarily a good thing. That's something for you to evaluate on your own. But it is unquestionably a historical fact that Western civilization, the product of this combination of Greek, Roman, and Christian cultures, has shaped the world, has done more to shape the world that we live in today than any other civilization. The fact that you are enrolled in a class at a university is proof that this civilization has extended its influence to you, and that it is a part of your identity. The university, perhaps, and the model of the university, especially the study of the liberal arts, one of the most powerful legacies of Western civilization. Where does the university come from? Why is it considered important to study at a university, to receive a university degree? Those answers can be found in the study of Western civilization. The university is something that was built by Western civilization. In the university, at least as we understand it today, in a traditional Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Sciences education, is fundamentally a product of Western civilization. So Western civilization is the most influential civilization in terms of shaping the modern world. That's why it's important that we study Western civilization in order that we can understand our world today. Second reason is, as I've said, it is a part of who we are. It's a part of our identity. As I said, if you're watching this video, if you're enrolled in this course, it means that even if that's the only way, you are in some way connected to Western civilization. It is a part of your identity. It is a part of who you are. And therefore, it's important that we study Western civilization in order to understand our own identity. And we could speak in an even more general way and say that the reason that we study history is to understand who we are, to go back in time to understand where we came from, how we came to be who we are today. Western civilization, the study of the history of Western civilization, is doing that in a way that's pretty generic. It's a pretty broad term. It encompasses a lot of topics, but it's the foundation for our identity in at least some component of our identity in some way. And so if we are seeking to achieve all that we want to achieve, and to maximize our strengths and minimize our weaknesses. It's my firm belief that we cannot do that without understanding our identity and understanding where we come from. And so the study of Western civilization is important for that reason as well. So those are the two reasons why it's important to study Western civilization. It's the most influential civilization in the history of the planet and in the world today. It is a part of your own identity, that understanding this civilization, its values, its history, its background, will help you understand yourself, will help you achieve your own goals, professional, social, cultural, moving forward. How are we going to study Western civilization? Well, this is Western Civilization 1, so we're going to study the origins of Western civilization until the year 1500. This is a huge span of time, so obviously we're not going to be able to go into every topic and every individual in the detail that I would most like. At the same time, we are going to cover an incredible span of history. We're going to see the very first permanent civilizations that are built by human beings. That's going to be our starting point. The very earliest civilizations, the very earliest permanent settlements built by human beings in the Middle East and the Mediterranean and Europe. And we're going to follow those civilizations. We're going to follow human beings. The story that we're going to follow is the story of human beings moving from living like animals to building some of the most beautiful structures that we still have in the world today, and sailing to some of the most remote regions, building the technology that enables them to travel to all areas of the world. And so this is a fantastic story that I'm really excited that you're joining me in pursuing. And in studying this story, I want us to think about a couple of major themes. The first is the story of government. How are the societies that make up this civilization typically governed? What does it mean to be a good ruler? What does it mean to have a good government? So I want you to think about government. I want you to think about identity. How do these people identify themselves? Do they identify themselves by family, the family that they're a part of, the place where they grow up, the government that they're ruled by, the ruler who rules over them? Do they identify themselves with all of these components in their life? And if that's the case, what kind of relationship do these different components have? So how do people identify themselves? That's the second one. So how are people governed? How do people identify themselves? What's the story of their political identity? Number 3, what is the role of religion in this civilization? I've said that Christianity is a fundamental component of Western civilization, but Christianity is not the only religion that we're going to study. What role do the different religions play in people's lives and in the lives of societies and communities that we study? So that's the third one, religion. Fourth theme that we're going to study is the study of education. I've said that the university is a product of Western civilization. What role does education play in the lives of the people that we're going to study, in the communities that we're going to study? How does the idea of education develop? How does the high value that we place on education today develop, and why? And then the last theme that I want you to think about is the theme of technology. What are the different technologies that the civilization develops? What are the conditions in which new technologies are developed? To what extent do new technologies help the people in these communities? To what extent do they challenge the people in these communities? So those are the major themes or ideas that I'm going to concentrate on and that I'm going to encourage you to think about. How are people governed? How do people develop a political and a social identity? What is the role of religion in this society? What is the role of education in this society? And what is the role of technology in these societies and in this civilization? So that's a little bit about how I'm defining Western civilization for the purposes of this course, why I think it's important that we're studying this topic, and how I'm going to go about teaching this topic. So I hope that's helpful for you. I'm really looking forward to us taking this journey into the history of Western civilization together. Thank you.